The Patriots' offense is just so bad. Guys dropping footballs. Everything's screens. Everything's handoff.
Well, they got two guys that don't know what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball. They're accomplished guys, but this is the first time that they've ever been play callers.
I know that.
And they've not gotten any better.
I mean, what they could do is they're really good coaches. They know football. They know what's going on. I understand that. Why don't you just take Andy Reid's tape and look at it and just try to recreate it? Oh, you can't because you don't have the players. That's why. Why don't you just take, Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins and take a look at what they're doing? Oh, you can't because you don't have the players. I mean, it does take players to make plays, but I mean, it's like pulling teeth with that offense last night. And somehow they scored 27 points, 6 points coming on a fumble return. But it was painful to watch, and the Jets are a better team than the Patriots. They are. And I was listening to Craig and Evan yesterday, and we all wonder like what game are the Jets going to look back and just rue the day that they lost that game? Now, some would say Minnesota. Some may say this past game in Buffalo.
No, it's both Patriot games.
Both Patriot games, both, especially the home game. The home game was where they should have been up 17-3, and they didn't, and there was a penalty and everything else. We all know what happened in that game with Zach Wilson and 3 interceptions. The next game where they couldn't do anything offensively, and neither could the Patriots, and then you lose on a punt return, for God's sake. You think about those two games, and then you watch the Patriots last night. I think, the defense is good. It's not great. The Jets have the better defense. The Jets have the better wide receivers. The Jets have maybe not the better coach, but they overall have the better team. And they lost those two games to the Patriots. It's mind-numbing to me after watching this thing last night. And it makes me think back to those two games of where the Jets would be had they just split those games, but they should have won both of them.
Yeah, and this is what we're saying going into those games, that they are the better team, and it's time to take that step against the Patriots. The Patriots are vulnerable, and if things are going to change with the Jets, it starts with beating the Patriots, and they weren't able to win either one of those games, which also now complicates the playoff picture because you want them to be out of there. You don't want the Patriots to be a thorn in their side as they try to grab one of these wild cards, and now with that New England win last night, and of course the Chargers as well, because they have the tiebreaker currently with conference record. The Jets are behind both of those teams.
The Jets are at number 9 right now.
That's right. So it doesn't mean that they can't get in, but there's a couple. Those two games really changed their plight.
There are two teams in the AFC. I don't think they'll make it, but they're going to make it interesting, and it's going to be Jacksonville and Vegas. Jacksonville's got the Cowboys this week, and then they turn around on that short week, and then they come here to play the Jets. And then over in the NFC it's the Detroit Lions. What they're doing, and if they can beat the Jets, I mean it's amazing that Jacksonville and Detroit have to go through MetLife to beat the Jets if they want to save their respective seasons. Assuming I think Jacksonville could beat Dallas this week.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas looked terrible last week against the Houston Texans. That was a 17.5-point spread. It took them to the final couple of seconds of the game to beat Houston. But I expect them to come back and be much better this week. That Dallas team,
it's not a look-ahead game.
Not a look-ahead spot with the Philadelphia Eagles after that. No, I think I'll tell you why. It might have been prior to this performance against the Texans, but if that didn't wake them up, then nothing will. And I don't know, maybe Mike McCarthy at this point is going to turn back into a pumpkin with this team. I don't expect that. I think Dallas is very, very good. I think they come out and they win handily after what happened this past week. They can't look ahead to anybody when they were this close to losing to the Texans, when they were over 2 touchdown for a 3-score favorite, for Christ's sakes.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
So you have 3 teams right now that have a tenuous hold on their division lead. Mm-hmm. Okay? When you think about it. Although I think San Francisco is going to be fine. I think they showed that they're going to be fine, and because Seattle lost last week.
And big news on Deebo Samuel. Apparently will be back in the regular season, so he got great news on his...
Well, high ankle sprains, you never know with those things.
I don't think it was a high ankle sprain? I don't think it was.
High ankle sprain, unless that changed over the night, over the past 12 hours.
Yeah, no, it's just a regular ankle sprain and an MCL sprain, and it'll be back in the regular season.
Good for them, and they'll be lucky to get him back. I think they're going to be okay. Because Seattle lost to Carolina this past week, I think the 49ers are going to be fine. And Brock Purdy has had a game and a half now of playing professional football, and he looks like he belongs.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't, the deeper they get into it, they have a short week this week. They're in Seattle. Let's see them handle all of that. But the good news is, Kyle Shanahan said, look, man, just don't turn it over, man. We're going to kick the crap out of everybody we play, so don't worry about it. What do you think about where Tampa is sitting right now? Because they, believe it or not, they still have Carolina, who's won 2 in a row, and they have Atlanta, who's switching to Desmond Ridder as their quarterback, right on their ass. They're one game. Each of those teams are one game behind Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has a losing record.
Yeah, I mean, I still expect Tom Brady and the Bucs to make it, but they're not any good. They're not going to win a playoff game. Whatever team comes out of that division isn't going to win a playoff game. I mean, they got smoked last week, but they're still the best of the bunch. I mean, I can't imagine Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers coming up and taking out Tom Brady for a division title, or a rookie quarterback and the Artie Party in Atlanta coming up and taking on Tom Brady. Now, he seems just like a different guy this year, though. I mean, it's like all this stuff is caught up with him, both personally and professionally. And maybe. I was listening to CeeLo talk about some quotes of his yesterday, or Sunday rather. It's just, he seems like he's like had it with this year. It's like totally had it. But I still think they'll end up winning that division.
All right, so then you have the Titans, who are 2 games in front of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, like I said, Jacksonville would have to beat the Cowboys this week to have any shot of catching the Titans.
Yeah, I've got that Jaguars to win the division bet plus 1,100 before the season. So
right.
I've got an interest in this one.
Well, the interesting thing, when you take a look at that division and you take a look at the way the Titans have played. So think about this. The Titans go to Green Bay. They beat Green Bay. Their offensive coordinator gets arrested for DUI. Then all of a sudden, they go on and they lose their next 3 games to Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Jacksonville.
Well, I mean, those are 2 very, very good teams they played, though, prior to Jacksonville.
Okay. They also fired their general manager in the mix.
Yeah, weird.
Of all of the, well, not so weird because, there's a lot of things going on down there.
I know, but it was unconventional to fire a general manager midway through a season.
Not when, things are like loose around the edges and you just got hammered by A.J. Brown, who your coach said he would never trade him. Yeah. And then certainly you find him across the way on the other team and he's kicking your ass. All right, so now listen to the Titans. The Titans are at L.A. Chargers this week. Then they have Houston, and then they're Dallas at Jacksonville. Could that Jacksonville game in Week 18 be for the AFC South?
Well, they're 2 games up now?
Yes.
It could be. Of course it could be.
And Jacksonville has beaten Tennessee.
But I think Jacksonville's going to lose this week to get them to 9 losses at that point.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about how many losses are the Titans going to have to get to 9 just to make that game interesting.
They would have to continue to lose, of course.
But all of them?
So right now,
3 out of 4.
Right now, the Titans are 7-6. So they would end up having, if they want to lose 9 games, they would have to lose 3 out of the next 4.
Yeah, of course it could mean something. I would say unlikely. I think they'll figure out a way to at least.
Is it more likely that they end up doing that, or is it more likely that Jacksonville wins out?
I don't think they're going to win out. I think they're going to lose this week to the Cowboys. I mean, I know that's like an obvious thing, but I don't expect Dallas to play that poorly again. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, there are certain teams that just like at the end of the year turned on. They finished really strong, and I think that's going to be the, kind of like the thought process moving forward. Oh, we got this. Like if you're Carolina right now, you've won 2 games. Sam Darnold's your quarterback. You're right back in the mix. And, is Steve Wilkes doing enough for him to remain the head coach?
Well, not after he called out the organization yesterday for tanking. I don't believe that he is going to be the head coach the rest of the way. But, I mean, it gets them into the playoffs, and they're competitive in the playoffs, and you have to think about it. You'd be nuts not to think about it. Him in another opportunity. I know things went horribly wrong for him in Arizona, but, I mean, it seems like, and there's nothing on that team. They traded away 2 of their best players.
They actually have some good players on that team, man.
Yeah, I know, but, I mean, their 2 best players on offense they got rid of.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey they got rid of because he was always hurt, and Robbie Anderson was a pain in the ass.
Right, but
yet they're still winning.
Yeah, no, they are. So, I mean, of course, David Tepper, the owner there, should look long and hard at Steve Wilkes. I just don't know if he will because of the comments that he made previous. But, we do this every year, too, where we're like looking at some of these teams at the outside looking in, and will they get in? But are any of these teams, especially in the NFC, like a real threat to the best teams in the conference?
I don't
the
think
answer's
so.
no.
Unless something happens to like what happened to Kyler Murray last night.
Right, but
if it's Jalen Hurts that goes down, then all of a sudden all bets are off.
I mean, God forbid.
Jimmy Garoppolo went down. You're thinking all bets are off. Now Brock Purdy's been playing pretty well the last 2 weeks.
Now in the AFC, rather, I do believe that one of those teams could make a run in the conference that is in that mix where you're talking about not so much New England because I don't think they're very good, but the Chargers as they're getting hot and Justin Herbert.
I think the Jets with their defense.
Of course, the Jets with their defense and a quarterback who is competent could definitely be in that conversation. Miami as a wild card, even though they've looked terrible the last couple of weeks, they went on a stretch where it looked like they were one of the better teams in football. So I do think that one of those teams on the outside looking in could come in as a wild card and make a lot of noise in that conference. But in the NFC, it's like, ugh. Like the bottom half of that NFC. I mean, listen, the team who's the number 2 team in the NFC isn't any good, much less the teams that are in the bottom trying to get the wild cards.
So Philadelphia is going to have the bye. It's going to be Minnesota, it's going to be San Francisco, and it's going to be Tampa Bay all hosting the wild cards.
Yes, you would think
of those teams, is there anyone other? I feel comfortable that San Francisco will win their playoff game.
Yeah.
The other two, not so much.
Sure. No, I would agree with that.
That would be your team.
No, I understand. Trust me. I agree. I mean, if it's like,
sorry about that. I don't mean. I don't.
I don't. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it really doesn't.
I don't want to come in. I'm in such a good mood this morning. I saw one-timers last night. I saw guys finally opening up and skate and pass and make great plays on defense.
Great. I would agree. Listen, anybody at this point could go in to, well, you know what?
Right now you got the Giants going in there to play Minnesota. They going to win that?
No.
But the Giants aren't going there, right?
I don't know. I mean, they could. I mean, those last 2 games of the season, they could end up squeaking in. Like the Commanders, the Giants, the Seahawks. I think the
Commanders are pretty rough and tumble team, man.
They are, but the Vikings went into their building and beat them. I don't expect them coming up.
Yeah, well, what was that score?
It was 20-17. Okay.
They barely beat them.
It's the one game the Commanders have lost in the last 7. And it was in their building. So you could barely beat them, whatever. A win is a win.
Like the Commanders.
Win's a win in the NFL. Hey, Biggs, it ain't easy winning in the NFL.
Hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Why do you have to do that?
You change your whole thought process.
Why do you have to do that now?
Because you do this.
Hey, what was the score? What was the score of that game?
Like, I mean, but then you just try to drum up the whole
I don't need
narrative.
You know what? I'm not a narrative guy. I am not a narrative guy.
Hey, a win is a win, right?
You know that I'm not a narrative guy.
Win is a win in the
Stop
league.
with that hand shaking in the air like that. I don't know why you have to go there. I mean, I'm in a good mood this morning. And then you're like all over me. I mean, you just got to give me a break.
I'm not all over you. You started it.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.